Welcome in, Legionnaires of the Lariat. I am back as your host, Mr. Showtime, Michael Wright, assuming the name is right here.
That's where it goes.
With me, as always, is my tag team partner, the lesser of two evils, the more of two evils, and stevezapf. How's it going today, Steven?
Michael, it's a good day. We're recording. We're talking wrestling. We're going to be talking Forbidden Door today, right?
Forbidden Door. I always like it when I get to take over hosting duties. I feel like now you have to play my games. I like to take on Steve hosts the weekly things. I like to take the special episodes, give you guys a nice little treat. Today, we if you noticed, if you listened to this week's episode already, we didn't preview the Forbidden Door. It was done intentionally. We kind of wanted to take some of the predictions and the reviews of these pay-per-views out of the normal show, because when we do that, they turn into 2.5-hour shows. So I want to give you something a little bit more digestible, something a little bit fun, and allows us to focus solely on, I guess this would be a pay-per-view, solely on this rather than kind of mixing it all into one. So without further ado, I think we can kind of kick this off. You ready, Steven?
I don't know. Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'm nervous because I won't lie, I'm not as familiar with the New Japan guys, and I like to use reason in sometimes how I pick these matches, but I also know who we're dealing with over in AEW, and so reason sometimes goes out the window. So we'll see, and I'll call out in some of my what I think should happen versus what I think should happen versus what I think will happen.
That's fair. I'm sure we'll both have some situations like that.
I'm sure we will. So let's start with it. So this is in no particular order. This is the order. We haven't even tried to figure out what we think the order of these matches will be, but kind of have an order. When we review it, we'll put it in the correct order. But let's start out with what I think Steven's most anticipated match of the trios match between the Elite versus Scissor Ace. His favorite, the Young Bucks. Steven, what do you got here? What are you thinking?
So the Elite, which is going to be the Young Bucks and Kazuchika Okada versus the Acclaimed, no Billy Gunn, just the Acclaimed,
Billy Gunn.
Hiroshi Tanahashi, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is a legend over there, and it seems like he's not aging, except for the fact that he's definitely aging.
He's got the Paul Rudd disease.
He kind of has the Paul Rudd disease. I think Scissor Ace wins this because they're really trying to build it up like that the Acclaim is going to beat the Bucks for these tag team titles, which I don't think is going to happen. But since this isn't for the tag team titles, I think this is going to be a Scissor Ace match. I think they're gonna do something where this maybe even sets up Tanahashi for the Continental title against Okada at some point and renew that little bit of a rivalry.
Wait, for the Okada has to defend that title?
He does sometimes, or he has title eliminators.
It's not the same thing.
I don't know. No one from the team of the Elite has defended their title in months.
Ever?
Not in Everdom. But Tanahashi and Okada were kind of going back and forth towards the end of it, kind of seeing who was going to still. It's kind of like the old lion and the young lion, except for neither one of them are very young. So there's that.
Lions.
They're just lions. Lions fighting lions, I guess.
It's even a lot of your stuff. I agree with you on this. I'm also taking Scissor Ace. A few things to add on to what you have here. So President Trump's EVP, I think, in this situation, I think that would be the higher title. So obviously that's why you'd make those decisions. I agree with you 100% around the title stuff, the tag team title stuff. I think that they're going to give the Acclaim the win here in order to make them seem like more viable tag team competitors, challengers, whatever. At the same time, I don't think they're winning those titles from the Young Bucks. I think they're going to have to pry those titles out of their cold dead hands. I think the other thing is that this kind of gives New Japan a win. I know the Acclaimed are AEW guys, but going through this card, like I went through a pretty fine tooth combed, and I'm trying to give New Japan wins as well as AEW because like I could really see AEW sweeping this whole card. But why do this if you're going to just make yourself look like a second rate company? So they got to get some wins throughout here. So this was one of them that I thought they could easily give this up and propel a storyline. So I'm with you. We both got Scissor Ace. I want to know why. Do you know why they're called Scissor Ace?
So Hiroshi Tanahashi is called the Ace of New Japan. So that's
that
part
would
of
make
it.
the Acclaimed the scissor?
Yes, because they always do the scissor me daddy ass thing.
Okay.
It's dumb, but it also got them over. So
Fair.
Who knows?
Who knows? I'm with you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So
for the next match, we have the learning tree. So you'll learn something with Jeff Hobb. I know you were talking about earlier how you thought they were going to do the Jeff Hobb Open Challenge, but it looks like he's
Jeff Cobb.
Sorry, Hobb. My bad. Jeff Cobb.
You're confusing Jeff Cobb with Will Hobbs.
Yeah,
because they're about the same size.
Regardless, they're getting sucked into the Jericho vortex. So I have Jeff Cobb versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I remember the days of what felt like yesterday, because it was, of Samoa Joe being in the main event fighting for the world title. And now he's in this trios match. And it feels like so long ago that he was world champion. And now he's just falling down the card. Because
in basically a comedy gimmick too.
Yeah, I just don't know how we got here. I have all the respect for Joe, and I don't know how he went from badass at the top to goofing around with Hook.
Like a guy who makes complete sense to be at the top of your card in Samoa Joe. He looks like a badass. He acts like a badass. He sounds like a badass. Like, say anything you want about Samoa Joe. I actually really love Samoa Joe promos. Like they completely make sense for how he delivers them. He's very well spoken about it. Like it comes out very clearly, but at the same time, like not like maniacal genius, but like I'm speaking clearly so you can understand every word I'm about to say to you because I'm telling you exactly how I'm going to kill you.
Let me slow this down so you don't miss any of the details.
Yeah. And like now he's in a comedy gimmick with Hook and Shibata and Jericho and Big Bill and Jeff Cobb, who, by the way, if this match was just Jeff Cobb versus Samoa Joe, I would be in on this. I'd be so in on this match. You got two big athletic dudes. Jeff Cobb, I think, he either was an Olympian or he was like an Olympic alternate for wrestling in like New Zealand or something like that. He's a big heavyweight. Like he's probably about like Otis size, who is another like I use Otis because it's another Division I All-American wrestler type guy. And like him and Joe would have put on a banger by themselves. And now we've got this thing.
It's wonderful. This is for you, Steven. This is for you.
This one's just for me.
I mean,
this is I can't believe I'm saying this.
This is tough, right?
I'm going learning tree.
Really?
I'm going learning tree. I think the only reason to have Joe, Hook, and Shibata win this would be to get Hook closer back to that FTW title.
Yep.
I don't know if they're ready to do that yet, or if that's even in the cards. I don't know. As it is, this is two trios matches in a row that we're going over too. And
well, I doubt that they're going to be back to back, but
I doubt they're going to be back to back too. But that just proves that we have two trios matches. There's a lot of matches with a lot of people in them.
There's a lot of matches on this card. This is not a 5-match WWE card by any means. You know, this was one of the, like, I think 2 matches that I was really on the fence with because I agree. right now, and like after I finish the sentence, I'll decide on who I want. But going into this, I think Samoa Joe, Hook, Chibata will win. Let's see at the end of the sentence if I agree with that still, because Jericho's already gone over on Hook and Chibata recently for the FTW title, and they have to figure out how to get it back on Hook, because that's not a real title that needs to be passed around the company. It's one that fits Hook. It's just his like player piece. It's his accessory. So this is definitely a match where they should be set up to win, so they can get back into that one-on-one title picture. But you know what Jericho hasn't done, at least recently, is beat Samoa Joe, and I feel like that's Jericho's mo. Where you haven't done it in a while. Big League Chew. So like that's the one thing that's drawing me to Jericho beating Samoa Joe. But I think I have to stick with Samoa Joe, Hook, and Chibata. It just makes way too much sense for them to win this match in order to get back into the for the world title. And like, I actually would really love to see them win this. It gets hooked back into that challenger title, and he retires the title afterwards because Jericho tainted it. I could see that being like a really cool storyline, and like a seamless transition to get rid of it, because it doesn't really do much for him, and like it's lost its whole luster of what it was originally, right? Like it was there, like what Taz invented it for, compared to what it's being used for now, is nowhere near the same stuff. So I'm gonna
No.
stick with not the learning tree, and I'll go with Samoa Joe, Hook, and Chibata, though I won't be surprised if Jericho beats Samoa Joe, because he hasn't done that in a
So
minute.
real quick, I did the math on this. There's 10 matches on this on the main card right now. AEW likes to do relatively long matches. I just did the math. If each match is 25 minutes long, which isn't that absurd for AEW
I mean, that's a long
matches.
match.
Those are, but if you look at these matches, you have a 6-man, a 6-man. You have Bryan Danielson versus Takachi. Honestly, I think MJF and Hechicero are going to be probably the shortest match on here, because some of these I could see going 30 minutes. That's why I'm averaging 25. I think everything's going to go at least 15 to 20, with some of them going 30. That's over a 4-hour pay-per-view right now.
Yeah, like I can see this clocking in at 4 hours.
This is going to clock in at 4 hours. Just the main card, not counting the pre-show.
Yeah, not pre-show. Yeah, that's aggressive.
Which again, this kind of goes back to why I think WWE is doing some of the smaller bite PLEs, is it keeps the fans engaged a little bit more. I think by the end of AEW pay-per-views a little bit, you're tired. Even if the show is good, you're up and down so much.
Sure.
If you're in the building in the beginning for the pre-show, you're in there for 6 hours. 6 hours.
I fully feel it. And that's what, like, so I've said this before. I think you've said this before, is I think there's a happy medium between the two companies, because I think what's the problem with WWE right now is that because these PLEs are so small, they focus on less wrestlers in Raw and SmackDown, where you get like the main talent right now, and then other people kind of get lost in the shuffle, or there's nothing to do with them, or they're just like, it's like, I don't have time for you on the show because I'm not paying off a story. Whereas in AEW's problem is that they have too many things happening, and they're trying to showcase everybody, and that's why we're getting those week-to-week storylines rather than longer ones that actually get a build and you feel great about it. So I think they're like, the happy medium is like, it's probably like 7 matches. and like you kind of alternate who we're talking about on a week-to-week basis.
Like a solid, like just over 3-hour pay-per-view. Maybe 3.
Yeah, like that's like a good sweet spot. Like 3 hours, maybe 3.5 with some good segments and some video packages and stuff like that. I can definitely see that.
All right, let's get back to the picks.
So yeah, so the next one is Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. Did I say that right?
Takachi.
And this is an Owen.
So Shingo Takachi is. This is the only Owen Hart Cup on the main match on the main card. Shingo Takachi is. He's one of the bigger names in New Japan. He was running their California dojo for the longest time, and then kind of used that as like, hey, it's the California kids versus the normal dojo kids type of situation. So he's done a lot. He's a very accomplished wrestler, and he's gotten himself into really, really good shape just being being part of the training crew for the dojos. I'm going Danielson on this one though. I think
As am I.
I don't think there's a world where Bryan Danielson isn't advancing in the tournament. As I said, I would love, if it's not in the finals, the semifinals, for it to be Danielson versus Pac. I'm really hoping that we use this Owen Hart Cup to elevate Pac to an actual main event status, or at least an upper mid card set, like something where we really get him. If we could get him versus Ospreay for the international title on like a series of shows, that'd be awesome.
Where this is where Ospreay loses it would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm with you on Danielson. I've said before, I'm kind of hoping for a Danielson MJF final of this. Now we have no idea who else is in it, so that's just full on fantasy booking.
I don't think MJF is gonna be in the tournament. That's the only problem. The only reason I could see him doing it is this is the only thing I haven't won in this company. Like I haven't gotten this prestige yet.
He also has that I'm better than everybody else aura around him. Even though he's kind of a face right now, he's going full anti-hero, I think, in my mind. And by doing that, like, that's just how damn good I am, is I beat everybody. Like, it feels awesome, in my opinion. Now, he might not, but I still think that Danielson goes far in this tournament. I don't think he loses in this first round. And I feel like there's a few of these picks throughout this card where I think that it's like clear AEW wins over them. And that's why, particularly why I chose Scissor Ace. I was like, oh, that's one I can see them giving them that win so they can make things like this win happen.
Exactly.
So next, we have MJF versus Hechicero. And
otherwise known as Ray Hechicero.
Yeah. His mask is crazy in the picture I'm looking at least, which is fun.
He's Hechicero means the wizard.
Nice. Wizard magic.
Ray Hechicero is Wizard King. I learned this. Nothing about his outfit looks wizardy though.
The mascot is wizardy.
So I believe it's supposed to be the wizard because he's such a good technician that he's magical. I'm surprised he's not feuding with Jericho, because isn't Jericho a wizard?
He definitely, in order to stay viable for this long and making people keep coming back to him, there's definitely some sort of black magic.
I think he's actually said the words though that he's a wizard.
Of course, yes.
Getting past that though, MJF. This is MJF. It's got to be, right. Like
this is his return match. His main.
Yeah, this is his return pay-per-view
in his home, right? This is in Long Island.
Yeah, like he's walking there. It's in Long Island. And hey, listen, let's not debunk this amazing feud between MJF and Hechicero that has been going on for days.
Like, I don't understand why this hasn't been coming in. Like, that Roosh was just kind of like a warm up for him, and they tried to build it to like nothing. And that should have been what was going on. Like, they could have brought these guys together and let this one really breathe, and they haven't. But you have him at his hometown. Get ready for like a 20-minute MJF promo before this match or after this match. So like your 4 hour plus pay-per-view has now started creeping towards 5 hours. Like, I don't think there's going to be a ton of video packages, and I don't think there's going to be a ton of promos, but he's going to drop a 20-minute on you.
Oh yeah. All right. So, what do we got next, Michael?
So next we have Jon Moxley versus Naito. Is that right too? Wrong?
Naito.
Oh, sorry, butchering names.
Tetsuya Naito, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, former IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
And this match is for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
So I could see them using this as the way to get the title off Moxley.
You don't
The
say.
only reason why I'm going to say it's not happening is because I feel like they're going to take the title off Moxley in Japan. So I'm going Moxley on this one. I don't see a world where AEW ever has Moxley lose because, if nothing else, they gave him creative freedom. And according to Moxley, he's the toughest guy in the entire freaking world.
He is the toughest guy in the whole world, except for all those tougher guys. I'm going to go against you here. I'm going Naito. I think this is the perfect opportunity for AEW to do whatever else they want if they can win back their title from an AEW guy at Forbidden Door. I think it just makes way too much sense to do the title drop here. I get what you mean, that it's like, I think maybe they get a rematch in Japan where he beats Moxley again. But at this point in time, I think this is like the perfect match for Naito to take this title
and kind of move on and get a match on AEW as far as
how everything's building, where like I have some other wins here that are going to go the AEW way, but now that they got their main title back, now AEW can do whatever they want. So that's kind of how I see this going down. But
also, I think the TNT title match, there's only 2 people that could be considered New Japan guys. So
and like the one thing I would really like to see is this being the main event. I don't think it will be.
I actually think this might be the main event.
Really? I would like to see it the main event because it makes sense.
They've done it mid-card a lot of times, but it's because the IWGP champion at the time was not an AEW guy. It was not Jon Moxley. And I know last year it was I forget who it was. I'm so sorry. But whoever the IWGP champion was, it was him versus Jack Perry, which there's no way that was going to main event the show.
But
so
I'm assuming
this
Swerve Ospreay is the main event, though.
I think it should be the main event. I think those two could close out the show, though. It could be like a main event and co-main event type situation with those two.
I mean,
with those two matches.
When you have 3 co-main events, you only still have 1 main event, though. Whatever one goes on last.
This is true.
But I would like to see this one be the main event. But I think it's going to be Strickland versus Ospreay, which it just is like it falls short for me because it's a cross promotion and you have 2 guys from the same promotion fighting for the title. Like again, we've said a few times how we weren't the biggest fan that Ospreay is fighting Strickland on this show. Like it really should be a Japanese guy going for this title, while like a lot of the other titles have a New Japan person going up against AEW. I don't understand why all of this isn't that. Like this whole Learning Tree versus Joe Hook and Shibata match has no business being on this card because it should have been.
No, the only person from New Japan on that is Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, I guess like you add him in the same as the other trios match. The other trios match has 5 people from AEW, 1 person from New Japan.
Well, and it kind of feels like, so even the Hechicero thing, like that's a CMLL thing. Like I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more with that. Like, you know, they have Monet versus Stephanie Backer. I believe I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. But she's the New Japan Strong Women's Champion, she's also a CMLL person. So, you know, it's just crazy how they're doing this. Honestly, I think the whole term Forbidden Door, now that everyone is opening the door, it's not so forbidden anymore.
Open. It's just a door.
It's not anything. I'm pretty sure once WWE started opening their door to other talent like that, Triple H kind of took an axe to that Forbidden Door. The world got very, very small now. Like, hey, we're admitting there are other wrestling promotions.
I dig that. And like, I really hope they continue to go down that route because there's definitely some people in WWE who could use the benefit of talking about their previous careers in like a TNA or in other. I know you don't want to talk about. Yeah, I know you don't want to talk about AEW in WWE. I fully understand that, but everywhere else should be fair game.
Yeah.
So the next match coming in here has your favorite wrestler.
My favorite wrestlers. This
we
is going to
have-
be the best match on the card. This is what I am hoping for. I hope this goes 45 minutes.
This could steal the night. I'm not gonna lie, but Zach
It actually could
Sabre,
be. This could actually
really
be
could
the match of the show, and it kills me to say that.
So you got Zack Sabre Jr., not Jack Sabre Jr., as I wrote originally,
Jack
and
Sabre Jr.
versus Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed.
JSJ, if you will, Jack Sabre Jr.
So we have these two guys going up, and what I think I'm going to enjoy this match, except for the little nuances that I don't particularly care for from Orange Cassidy, which is like kind of his gimmick. I think this match is going to be quite the showstopper. And like if you put this match like right in the middle or kick off the card with this match, I think it would really lead to like bringing the energy up to where you need to be at the time. So
I think they're gonna start the match or show with this. I could see them doing one of two things: them starting the show with this, or them starting the show with the TNT ladder match.
Oh, I was going to say that I think it's either this match or the Elite versus the Scissor Race. Like, kind of get those guys in there right away to build that heat. So, like that would have been. Those are my two picks for the opener matches. What do you think here, Steven? This is one of the other ones that I'm like really scratching my head.
I'm going with Jack on this one.
You're going with Jack, huh?
I'm going with Jack. I feel like this is one of those ones that we can give to New Japan. Zack Sabre Jr. is a very credible guy to give the win to. Orange Cassidy is a big enough star in AEW's mind that they can give him this loss and it doesn't hurt anything. I could see this also being where the Don Callis family comes into play a little bit and maybe distracts him. But I could also see this. I think they've been building Zack Sabre up a little bit more as kind of a more respectable guy. So this could be a handshake deal where somebody loses and we get a handshake.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to change my mind by the time this pay-per-view happens, but I'm going to go with Orange Cassidy right now because Orange Cassidy doesn't like to lose. Like,
Tony doesn't like him to lose.
Yeah, like I don't remember the last time. Yeah, I not blaming him particularly. It's not like he doesn't want to do business. It's more just like I don't remember the last time he lost a significant match.
No,
even matches that he should have.
No, he's Tony Khan's favorite wrestler.
Minus getting the title off him when it was time to get that title off him. So like I get that one, which has now already seen someone else win that title, which wasn't all that long ago. So I'm gonna go with freshly squeezed for that. But like this is probably for me the hardest pick of the whole thing. That I might need to see some of the go home stuff before I make a final decision there. So disclaimer, a little asterisk next to that one.
Oh, we got some different choices on this one at least.
Yeah, I want to say that bodes well for you, but it didn't last time. So next we have.
I feel like this is. I feel like this is like when you're doing a fantasy football draft though, and you're just auto picking, and somehow you get the best team.
I'm not. I'm definitely not auto picking. I don't think because I think that there's some difference. Like I have some risky ones, like Naito winning the New Japan title, because I feel like the auto pick there is Moxley.
That's fair. All right, so
next
match
is Timeless Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's title. This one is actually a storyline that they built up for the last couple of weeks, which is kind of cool. So I actually care about what's going on here with Mariah May being in both corners.
She's in both corners.
She's in both corners.
So does Luther make the difference then because he's also in Toni Storm's corner?
No, I don't think he ever makes the difference. He's only there to get in trouble.
He's there. He's literally there because he's Jericho, one of Jericho's best friends.
Deal. I would take that.
He's Jericho's real life Rufus.
That's funny. I think Mariah May is what makes this one. Excuse me. This one makes it settled, and I think she's going to stick with her girl Tony Storm. So I'm going to take Tony Storm for the win here.
I'm also taking Tony Storm on this one. Although I really do love Mina Shirakawa's work. I think this is. I know we said that Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy might steal the show. This might actually be the best wrestling match on the card. Like what we consider a really good wrestling match. This could be it. Although I'm going to say it again this month for this pay-per-view. Don't be surprised if the two women's wrestling matches are not the two best wrestling matches on the card.
Are the best wrestling matches on the card. Yeah.
They are going to be the best wrestling matches on the card.
It's so interesting on how the style of women's wrestling has changed over the last 5 years or 10 years, whatever it is, from being like, no one wants to see you actually fight to they happen to be the most talented fighters in the company. It's crazy how it's changed so quickly. Not that it shouldn't have, it's just things change so quickly that it's almost like breakneck speed because they really have gotten a lot of talent across these. I don't remember the last Tony Storm match. I didn't absolutely love. I feel like she's starting to get into that Rhea camp for me, where I just always love to watch her wrestle. I would still say I'm a bigger Rhea fan than Tony Storm fan, but that gap is closing. I just think that Rhea might be my favorite wrestler out there today. So that's
it's a real good chance right now that Rhea Ripley is my favorite active wrestler.
She puts on the amazing matches. So but I think Tony Storm does the same thing. Though I want her to stop doing the fisherman suplex and getting kicked out. Come on, please stop. End it with the fisherman. Listen, if we ever we always joke about if anyone's listening, Tony definitely listens to this show if she ends with the fisherman suplex in this. So that's the proof. So I'm with you on that. So we both got Tony Storm. Let's talk about the other women's match on here, which is a title versus title match. You got Mercedes Moné and Stephanie. How do you say her last name? Say again. I don't want to say.
I think it's Vacker. It's I just looked it up. I believe she's Colombian, is what I saw.
Okay. I just knew I was going to butcher that, and I really that one was going to be rough for me. And this is for the AEW TBS Championship and the New Japan Strong
Women's title.
So this is title versus title. I'm surprised there's not more of these on this card. I think there really should be. And I think this is going to be a fantastic match.
Or at least champion versus champion.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's title versus title, but I don't care if both titles are on the line, but I feel like there should have been more champion versus champion. You should have went and gotten the CMLL heavyweight champion to get in there or something like that. Maybe have had him versus Moxley for the IWGP title. That would have been cool. And I would have liked to have seen that. Honestly, I'm surprised they don't try to get a working relationship with the NWA and try to get some of those guys in here. I don't think I think a lot of those guys aren't necessarily on this level, but still, I wouldn't mind seeing EC3 versus Moxley for title versus title either. That would have been cool.
I would like to see the NWA get a bit more higher profile opportunities because how storied that history is to where it's kind of an afterthought today.
Which is funny because they actually stream on the CW app. You can watch their weekly show on the CW.
See, I didn't even know that, and I help run a podcast.
So I'm gonna go with Mercedes on this one. I think she's too hot. I think
zero chance that she loses this match.
I think there's zero chance she loses this match. I think the only way that this match doesn't go all the way to Mercedes if somehow this becomes a draw of some sort.
Time limit draw. That was going to be exactly what I said. That's the only way I see Moné not winning is if it's a tie.
All right, so
she's just
she's too hot.
$12 million woman.
She was supposed to, and the only reason why she didn't win this NJPW Strong title originally was because that was the match she got hurt with Willow, and they made a pivot on the fly and gave it to Willow. I think this is where we're at. Which also, this might move into her and Willow getting a rubber match for both titles.
Oh, interesting. That would be cool. Let's see.
Sometimes I have good ideas.
Yeah, it happens once in a blue moon. Well done. Actually, that was my idea. I said that earlier. He stole it. What a jerk.
So he's right.
The next match here is going to have absolutely zero Jamokin as we go through.
I'm actually changing this from the TNT Championship ladder match to the Jamokin Championship ladder match.
I think that's a good move there. So we have the finals, the TNT Championship ladder match with Takeshita. We have Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, Dante Martin, Lio Rush, and El Phantasmo. In my opinion, I really only see two people winning this match. I just don't know how it's not one of Takeshita or Jack Perry. I want to say Briscoe in there, but I just don't see.
I don't think it's going to be Briscoe, especially since he's got the Ring of Honor title. I think a dark horse in this is Dante Martin.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to win it, but I could see them being like, hey, we're going to shock everyone and put it on Dante Martin. And like, this is how we build him. I don't think it's going to happen. That's not my pick, mind you. Here's what I'm saying. Down.
You're locked in. There's no take back.
That's not how this works. Here's what I'm saying. Different. Takeshita should win this.
Agreed.
I think Jack Perry is going to win this.
Agreed. I want nothing more to be wrong here because we were talking about this. I don't know if we were talking about this on the show or on the sidebar. I think the Jack Perry temper tantrum after losing this title is more entertaining than him winning this title. And I think that can go really far. And you can get a Jack Perry Takeshita kind of match. The problem with Takeshita right now is that I feel like he's kind of a jobber these days. And I absolutely hate it. I think he's entirely too talented for that.
Too talented.
And that's why I want him to win this. Like, I really want him to win this match.
When we started this podcast, you didn't even know who Takeshita was. And immediately after that first Will Ospreay match, you got turned into a Takeshita fan.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Like, he really does. And like, I think AEW has no idea how to book him. They don't know what to do with him.
He's so different. Like, it's not like he's a small dude. He's what? I think they said 6'3" or something like that. 6'4". He's like 240. He's a real heavyweight. He's a real heavyweight. He's a true athletic heavyweight. And they just don't know what to do with him. And truthfully, part of the only reason I don't want to see him win the TNT Championship is because I would like to see him get the world title. Honestly, I'd like to see him be higher than that.
Like, I really need Ospreay to get out of the Don Callis family, so Takeshita could be the face of it.
Exactly.
And treat him like the face of it. And this would go a long way with doing that, but instead, I'm going to pick Jungle Boy because the Elite needs to have a championship on every single person. That annoys me. And here we are. So we're both taking Jungle Boy. And now what I think's going to be the main event, but I hope it's not. We got Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship. Steven, I know what I think should happen, and I know what I think will happen in this match. What are you thinking?
All right. What should happen?
Cool.
Is that the Don Callis family should cost Will Ospreay the world title.
Fact.
Because if for no other reason, he's getting too big for his britches.
He just said he doesn't need them. He literally just said that on TV. I don't know where heel factions say, hey, I don't need those guys. And they're like, you know what? He's right. We need him more than he needs us. I can appreciate his honesty.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, but Judgment Day really does need Priest.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So what should happen is Will Ospreay should not win the world title.
Should not win the world title. I'm with
Should
you.
not win the world title. We are in agreement on that, right? Like that is
Yep.
where we are at. What do I think is going to happen? I think Will Ospreay is winning the world title.
I think Will Ospreay's winning the world title because there's a difference between booking rationally and booking, ooh, this is my new favorite toy. Let's put a second title on him. Ooh. And maybe he can beat next week he'll beat Jack Perry and he'll be the TNT champion too.
He'll be the AEW World International Television Champion.
Can he get that bar so he can kind of hang all the titles from it? So we both got Ospreay.
We both have Ospreay.
My
thing is the whole thing with Ospreay is he shouldn't be winning the world title right now. If you are going to book him to win the world title, it should be at Wembley, right? Like it should be at Wembley. Like
yes,
get that cheap 80,000 person pop. Like, am I thinking outside the box? Am I the weirdo? You can tell me. I'm normally the weirdo, but I feel like I'm not. This isn't outside the box thinking.
I think this is so obvious that we could both be wrong here, and I'm willing to take the L here in order. But like, I just don't trust Tony. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
I really hope that there's like I really hope this Will Ospreay match and this TNT Championship ladder match, we both take L's on that one.
Yes, because these are the two easiest. I know what I think should happen versus what I think will happen. And so that's where we're at. So Steven, I'm recapping what we have here. We both have Scissor Ace over the Elite. You have the Learning Tree. I have Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. We both have Danielson winning the Owen Cup match. We both have MJF. You have Moxley, and I have Naito getting that New Japan title off of Moxley. You have Zack Sabre. I have Orange Cassidy. We both have Tony Storm. We both have
everything else
Monet.
Is all the same throughout.
We both have Jack Perry. Jungle Boy have you, and we both have Will Ospreay. Though I hope those last two are incorrect. So that's where we're at, Steve. You have a chance. You have a chance to close this gap up. So you can't catch me. I'm too fast for you. I'm the fastest kid alive. But I got 6 matches on you.
It's a freak.
I got 6 matches on you right now. You could, in theory, cut that lead in half. I don't think you will. But there is a chance that this could be a chance for you to beat me in a PLE for the first time. Because that hasn't happened. We've tied a few times. And I've beaten you once, twice, 3 times by a lot, 4 times.
A lady?
I've beaten you 4 times since we started. I crushed you on Dynasty.
Listen, I'm coming in a solid second, which is still better than Scarps can say.
He was so embarrassed that he stopped picking. But for someone who's been in the business for so long and has been so locked in, versus someone who's just coming back in, you should be ashamed of yourself. But that's why we listen, because we're all rooting for me. What can I do there? I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is our predictions for Forbidden Door. We'll also do a recap show of the match and kind of get that out to you guys, hopefully separate from from our next episode, because otherwise our next episode will be as long as this PLE is shaping up to be. So thank you all for listening. If you have any picks, if you think that we're wrong, you want to tell us why we're wrong, we're happy. Put it in the descriptions. Hit us up on our social media handles. They'll all be linked in the description below. We want to know just as much about what you guys think as what we think. So thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. Steven, you got anything to say?
Nope. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming through.
Thank you all, Legionnaires of the Lariat. We appreciate you more than you can imagine. Have a great day.
Have a good one.